Hey guys, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm super excited to be partnering up with Baby Lock sewing machines and bringing you another sewing tutorial. Today I'm going to be using my Baby Lock Vibrant, which is this serger right here. It is a perfect beginner serger. I've done tons of projects with it. I'll put links down below so you guys can go and check it out, and also for you to check out all of the tutorials that I have using this exact serger. So make sure to check those out. Today I'm going to be showing you how to finish off the tails on your serging. When you serge something, it's going to look like this, and you'll have a long tail as long as you don't cut it off. So if you don't do something with these tails, your project will start looking like this, especially if you cut it right at the end and trim the tail off. It'll just start pulling apart, and the more you wear it, the more pressure you put on those seams, it's just going to start coming apart. So that's why it's important, especially on edges that don't have like an intersection. So like shoulder seams are then going to sew into your armhole seams, and those will be intersected. So those don't necessarily need to be tied off or finished. The tails don't. But if anything else, like a neckline or the hem, I do it on a lot of my hems, so that way I don't have to worry about those unraveling, because that's just annoying and no one wants to see your threads hanging off your shirt. So to do that, I'm going to show you the different ways that I like to finish off these tails, and you can just pick whichever one you like when you're doing your serging and then finish it off that way. So let's get started. So the first way that I want to show you to finish off your tails is probably the easiest way to do it, but actually not my favorite. And I'll tell you why, but a lot of times I would just cut it at the very end, just like that, cut that tail off. And then I would take some fabric glue, and you want it to not be washable, so it won't wash out. So there's this one, this is by Fabric Fuse, or there's also just like Fray Check. But I find that that can get like hard and scratchy against your skin. So that's why it's not my favorite way to finish something off, because if this is a garment that's touching my body, it's not something I want to have. I don't want it to be annoying. I want it to be comfortable and not something that's bothering me all day long while I'm wearing it. So, but if you don't mind that, if it's not touching somewhere on your body and you're totally fine with it, you can do this method. And I would just take my piece, and right on the ends where I cut, I would just put my glue. My glue's not coming out, but you would just put your glue along the edge, just right there. And you don't need very much, just to catch those threads that we just cut and kind of like finish them off and hold them in place is essentially what we're doing, so that they don't unravel and we don't have this problem later on. And I feel like a lot of times I see it in a hemline, it'll start like coming undone, and it drives me crazy. So that is why finishing off these tails is so important. Another way to finish off your serger tails is once you get to the end of your stitching, I would sew off the end just like normal, but then I would bring it around and sew back up. Actually, I can flip it and then sew it back up just a little bit, and not cut anything. If you need to, turn your knife off, but then just sew off the edge. And in this case, I'm kind of bunched up, so I would still cut it. So you would still have some fraying right here, some like loose threads. And that's another thing, this isn't my favorite method either, because then I would cut those too. But so it's still possible, and hopefully you wouldn't even have a loop that big. You would want to try and keep it even smaller than that, so that way you didn't have to cut that off, and you would still have the spraying. So then you would probably still want to use the glue, and that's where it's just a little trickier. But that's another way, is just going back over your serging again, so that way it has more that it would need to unravel later on. If that makes sense. The third way to finish off your serger tails, this is my favorite way, one of my favorite ways. I have two. These last two are my favorites. And this one just takes a little bit longer, but I feel like it's going to hold better and for the longest amount of time. So, and that's taking it, I just cut it to about 2 inches long for the tail. And then I'm just taking a needle, I find this to make it the easiest way, and unthreading the loops that it created for the tail. And then it'll just leave me with these 4 strings, 4 threads, and I'm going to tie them together. So I'll take 2 in one side, 2 in the other side, and just tie a knot. And like I said, I feel like this holds it way better. And I don't have to worry about any of that stitching coming undone. So here I have these 2 threads, these 2 threads. If you feel like you need to make it a little longer, you can do that, and then you'll just have to untangle a little more. And then I just do like a double knot, and usually that is good enough. The fourth way that I like to finish off your serger tails is I just thread the tail through a large embroidery needle. So I just pick the one that I have with the biggest eye so that it's easy to thread it through. And then I just take it and I'm going to thread it through, back through. So we're going backwards, back through the stitching that we just did on the fabric. Let me see if I can do this while showing you guys. So you're just going through the loops. Oh, there we go. Okay. Like, try not to go through the fabric. You're just going through, like, underneath the thread. So it's in between the thread and the fabric. So it's like just sitting in between. So you can see my needle right there. And I just pull that through. I just did that about 1 inch. You could go even longer. And pull it through. Whoa. And then take your needle out. And then it's through that at least 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and secured. If you want to make it even more secured, you could then glue it or even tie it off there. But I feel like that should hold it pretty well, depending on how much pressure and pull you're putting on whatever you made, your garment or project. So you can see there, like, that's still holding really well, whereas before, this side I actually cut, and you can see, like, if I start pulling it, threads are popping and starting to pull apart. So you can imagine, like, after a few washes and wears of something, how much that's going to unravel, and then you're just gonna have to do that all over again, and it's so annoying. So finishing off your serger tails and finding one that works for you is a great way to finish off your projects and make them look more professional and last longer. So I love this. Sometimes I get really lazy and I don't want to do it, and then later on I regret it, and I'm like, oh, that's why I do it, so I don't have to worry about it later. So do today what you can't put off tomorrow, or something like that. Something. So that and the last two are my 2 favorite ways to do it. Let me know in the comment section, what is your favorite way to finish off your serger tails? Did I miss anything? Is there a way that you guys have found to do it and love even more? Let me know. Let me know what your favorite is. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure to check out the Baby Lock Vibrant. I'll put a link down below for it. Also make sure to put a link for all the videos and tutorials that I've done with this machine. It has so many cool features and can do so much, and I just love it. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!